It's been a day since the 2020 trade deadline ended, with a bunch of teams believing they have what it takes in winning the championship. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Not every franchise has come close to winning a title, but some of the best mid-season deals went down less than 24 hours before the deadline. Let's take a look at the all-time best mid-season trades from every NBA team. Starting in alphabetical order with the Atlanta Hawks, a team that hasn't made a huge mid-season trade that impacted them highly. February 22nd, 1996, when the team traded Andrew Lang and past his prime Spud Webb for Christian Laettner and center Sean Rokes. Although the team didn't make it past the second round, they won 56 games in 97, 50 in 98. Laettner made his first and only All-Star appearance in 97, averaged 18 and 9. Unfortunately ruptured his Achilles tendons in 98, but enjoyed some success with the franchise. The Boston Celtics, the franchise with the most titles, hasn't done too much at the deadline. Most notably, February 24th, 2005, when Antoine Walker was acquired from the Atlanta Hawks for Tom Gugliotta, Gary Payton, Michael Stewart, and a 2006 first that became Rajon Rondo. It would have been a disaster if the C's weren't able to get Rondo back. While Walker had an up and down career, at least the team made the playoffs in 05. The Rondo pick was traded to Phoenix, part of that Joe Johnson deal. After being picked, Rondo was traded alongside Brian Grant for a 2007 first that was Rudy Fernandez back to the Celtics, eventually becoming the starting point guard for the 2008 championship team. The Charlotte Hornets, a travesty of a franchise. Not once have the Hornets gotten past the second round. Their best mid-season activity, acquiring Josh McRoberts from the Orlando Magic in exchange for Hakeem Warwick and cash. February 21st, 2013, the 6'10" power forward was a nice energy guy, averaged over 9 and 7 in the final 26 games, started all 78 games for the 2014 team that made the postseason, while Warwick never played another NBA game after Charlotte got rid of him. The Chicago Bulls, February 3rd, 1994, getting Luke Longley and dragging Tarlek, a future second rounder who barely played in the NBA, from the Wolves, trading big man Stacey King. Although King enjoyed 3 championships in the first three-peat, Longley was a little younger and the more productive player in his late 20s, was the starting center for the second three-peat at 7'2". His height bothered the opposing teams, and also an excellent passer, a great decision by the franchise. The Cleveland Cavaliers, a moment the franchise will never forget, getting Baron Davis in an unprotected first, which turned out to be Kyrie Irving, in exchange for Mo Williams and Jamario Moon, because the Clippers wanted to get rid of Davis's contract so badly, who was towards the end of his career. Irving won Rookie of the Year and was a huge part of the 2016 championship team in the finals. The Dallas Mavericks, in a 7-player trade, February 21st, 2002, with the Denver Nuggets, veteran Avery Johnson, Tariq Abdul-Rahman, Rick LaFrance, and Nick Van Exel were sent to Dallas for the aging Tim Hardaway, Juwan Howard, cash, and a future first that barely mattered. The Mavs got stronger, ended up winning 57 games, and tied with the league's best record, 60 wins in 2003. Might have won it all if Dirk didn't go down in the conference finals against the Spurs, while the struggling Nuggets ended up winning 27 games and the league worst 17 wins the season before they drafted Melo. The Denver Nuggets, February 1st, 1980, a huge game changer, snatching prolific scorer Alex English with a first, Carl Knicks, who played 3 seasons in the NBA, for George McGinnis, who retired 2 seasons after. English became the leading scorer in the 80s decade, averaged 25.9 points on 51% shooting in 10.5 seasons with the franchise, made 1 conference finals appearance in 85 under head coach Doug Moe. The Detroit Pistons, one of the biggest deals, February 19, 2004, part of a 3-team trade with Boston and Atlanta, getting power forward Rasheed Wallace, role player Mike James. Boston got Chuggy Atkins, Lindsey Hunter, who was waived and resigned with the Pistons right after, a future draft pick in Tony Allen. Atlanta received Bobby Surup, 2 others, a pick that turned out to be Josh Smith. Wallace was one of the key elements in the 04 title team and one of the best players on the Pistons. Also covered up for the franchise's terrible decision drafting Darko Bus Milicic. The Golden State Warriors, getting Baron Davis for Speedy Claxton and Dale Davis, February 24th, 2005. In a deal with the Hornets, Claxton and Davis were both out the NBA before the 2010s decade. While Davis was the star point guard and the best player of the We Believe Warriors team in 07, still the biggest upset in NBA history, knocking off the 67-win Mavs in the first round, was one of the league's most exciting team, brought plenty of joy to the franchise before the Steph Curry era. The Houston Rockets, Valentine's Day 1995, a lovely decision, getting superstar shooting guard Clyde Drexler Drexler, reuniting him with his college teammate Hakeem Olajuwon. Both played at the University of Houston, alongside Tracy Murray for Otis Dort, Marcelo Nicola, and a 95 first. Drexler and Olajuwon went on to win the 95 title. As the 6th seed, without Clyde the Glide, the Rockets would have been in a lot of trouble in the playoffs. One of the best midseason addition trades all time. The Indiana Pacers, February 21st, 1989, sending Herb Williams in the future second and Antonio Davis to the Mavs for power forward Deathless Shrimp, who won 2 Sixth Man of the Year awards, was a good outside shooter. The Los Angeles Clippers, February 6, 2019, trading Tobias Harris so they didn't have to give him the max and had room for Kawhi and PG afterwards, alongside Boban and Mike Scott, sending those three to Philly for Wilson Chandler, who barely played, Mike Muscala, who was later flipped for Zubac the very next day, sharpshooter Landry Shamet, alongside 2 firsts and 2 seconds, having enough assets to trade for Paul George, a genius move by the front office. Now the team's in position contending for multiple championships. The Los Angeles Lakers, February 1st, 2008, a day Laker fans will forever cherish, literally stealing all-star power forward Pau Gasol from Memphis alongside a future pick in Devin Ebanks for Kwame Bust Brown. Stephen A. Smith called him a bona fide scrub, still one of his greatest moments. Javaris Crittenton, the rights to Marc Gasol, 2 picks in Dante Green and Grievous Vasquez. Pau made an immediate impact after being 0-12 in the playoffs, made 3 straight finals, won 2 championships, was the perfect second option alongside the great Kobe Bryant. The Memphis Grizzlies, the same trade. Obviously, Kwame and Javaris didn't last long. The franchise was struggling with Pau. While Mike Conley was still very young, Mark became the face of the grit and grind Grizz. In the early to mid 2010s, a multiple-time All-Star, future Defensive Player of the Year. At first, it looked like a lopsided deal, but the younger Gasol turned Memphis into a respectable franchise. The Miami Heat, February 22nd, 1996, snatching All-Star point guard Tim Hardaway and a role player Chris Gatling from Golden State for Kevin Willis and Bimbo Coles. Hardaway became the instant leader, made a great duo with center Alonzo Mourning. The Heat won 61 games the following season, lost to Jordan's Bulls in the conference finals. The Milwaukee Bucks in a 3-team deal on March 11 of 99 with the Nets and Wolves, getting Sam Cassell with Chris Gatling, sent Terrell Brandon to the Wolves, Elliot Perry to the Nets. Wolves traded Paul Grant to the Bucks, Chris Carr, Bill Curley, and Stephon Marbury to the Nets, and New Jersey traded Brian Evans in a 99 first and Wally Zerbiak to Minnesota. The Bucks got way better with Gasol, Ray Allen, and Glenn Mad Dog Robinson forming a big 3. The team was a win away from making the finals in 01 in a very controversial series. The Minnesota Timberwolves, the same exact trade with the Bucks and Nets. While the franchise didn't have as much success as the Bucks over those couple years, the main reason the trade worked was Terrell Brandon, who was the opposite of Marbury, who the team wanted to get rid of so badly. While Brandon meshed way better with Garnett, enjoyed 3 50+ win seasons together. The New Jersey Nets, there weren't any great Nets mid-season trades, so I gotta go with the same exact trade I just mentioned. Even though the team got Stephon Marbury from Minnesota and a few others, winning 31 and 26 games in 2001, the Marbury trade led to Jason Kidd coming to Jersey in summer of 01. If the Nets didn't have Marbury, it wouldn't have been possible to trade for another star point guard who would change the whole franchise around. The New Orleans Hornets, March 10th of 99, trading B.J. Armstrong, J.R. Reed, and Glenn Rice for All-Star Eddie Jones and Eldon Campbell. Jones was an All-Star player. Jerry West had to get rid of him in order to start Kobe, became the defensive leader, making multiple all-defensive teams, led the league in steals the year after arriving. The Hornets would win 49 games, while Glenn Rice won a title with the Lakers. The New York Knicks, not the Carmelo Anthony deal, since the team ended up being a huge disappointment and even more of a travesty after his tenure, so we have to go way back to 1968 when the franchise acquired Dave DeBusschere from Detroit for Walt Benamy and Howie Comine. December 19th, one of the most significant deals in team history, DeBusschere was the final piece to the puzzle for the 1970 title team. From 1969 to 74, the Knicks ended up with 2 rings, won more games than any team in the league at the time. The good old glory days for basketball at the Big Apple. The OKC Thunder, when they were still the Supersonics, February 20th, 2003, making a deal with the Bucks, getting superstar Ray Allen with Ronald Murray, Kevin Ollie, and the first that became Luke Rittenauer for Desmond Mason and Gary Payton. Instead of dumping an aging Payton, the Sonics luckily got the best shooter in the league, who ended up playing 4.5 seasons with the team before going to Boston, became beloved in the city, led Seattle to 52 wins in 05. The Orlando Magic, February 19, 2009, part of a 3-team deal with the Rockets and Grizzlies, able to snatch Rafer Alston from Houston after Jameer Nelson's injury. Memphis traded Kyle Lowry to Houston. Orlando got rid of Brian Cook, Odano Foro, Mike Wills, and the first that was DeMarre Carroll. Alston was a critical piece in the postseason, helping the team get to the finals. The Philadelphia 76ers, January 15, 1965, the San Francisco Warriors traded Will Chamberlain to Philly for Connie Durkin, Paul Newman, Lee Schaefer, and Cash, arguably the most lopsided trade all time because of major financial issues. The most dominating player in NBA history went on to average almost 28 points, 24 rebounds in 4.5 seasons with the Sixers, helping the franchise win its first ever title in 1967. The Phoenix Suns, February 25, 1988, landing future All-Star point guard Kevin Johnson alongside Tyrone Corbin, Mark West, a first that became Dan Marley. Dean Garrett was the second rounder with Greg Grant in exchange for Larry Nance, Mike Saunders, and a first in Randolph Keys to the Cavs. Johnson became one of the best point guards in the entire NBA, while Marley was a fan favorite. Both led the team to the finals in '93. The Portland Trail Blazers, February 13, 1998, making a deal with Toronto, landing Damon Stoudemire, Carlos Rogers, and Walt Williams for Kenny Anderson, Gary Trent, Alvin Williams, a first in Bryce Drew, another first and a second that barely played. Mighty Mouse helped the team with some success, made 2 conference finals appearances in '99 and 2000. The Sacramento Kings getting rid of DeMarcus Cousins with Omir Caspi to New Orleans for Tariq Evans, Langston Galloway, Buddy Hield, a first and a second, turned out to be Zach Collins and Frank Mason III. Hield's one of the best outside shooters today. While Cousins have been constantly banged up with injuries, doesn't seem like he'll ever be the same again. Getting back-to-back minimum contracts, at least the Kings are in a better place post-Cousins era. The San Antonio Spurs, for a team that doesn't do much mid-season, February 24, 2005, the Knicks traded Nazr Mohammed, who became the starting center for the 05 title team, for Malik Rose, a 2005 first that was David Lee, and another first in Marty Collins. Even though it wasn't the best pickup all time, Mohammed averaged over 6 and 6, started at center every game that postseason. The Toronto Raptors landing Marc Gasol, February 7, 2019, giving up CJ Miles, Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, and a 2024 second. A great trade for both teams, but especially for Toronto, making a huge impact to stepping up big time in the finals. No doubt he'll be a future Hall of Famer. The Utah Jazz, February 24, 1994, making a deal with the Sixers, trading Jeff Malone and a '94 first and B.J. Tyler for Jeff Hornacek, Sean Green, and a second rounder. Malone played his final season in '96, was aging, while Hornacek started every game from '94-95 on to 2000 with the Jazz, a huge part of the '97 and '98 team that made back-to-back finals. The 6'3" shooting guard averaged 14.4 points with Utah, was very close to joining the 50-40-90 club, shot 89.3% from the line in '96, winning between 53 to 64 games every season with Utah, except for the lockout year. Very solid for a third option. The Washington Wizards, the franchise never did anything significant mid-season, at least on February 18, 2016, acquiring Markieff Morris from the Suns for DeJuan Blair, Chris Humphries, a first that was Giorgio Papagiannis. At least the Wizards won 49 games in 2017, a game short of the conference finals. Morris averaged 14 a game as the starting power forward. Those were the best mid-season trades from every NBA franchise. Which were the ones that stood out to you? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe for more content as we continue to mourn the tragic death of Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gigi, and the other 7 victims killed almost 2 weeks ago. It is very important to cherish all the little things in life and to never take anything for granted. With the Mamba watching above us, his legacy lives on.